all Bonami's family. Great supportive community, close-knit caring family. We're non-judgy, blanket fuzzy, stigma-free. All Bonami's family, friends, family, and community. We all Bonami's family. Teacher sharing is our key. Great big thanks to you all.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Stigma Stompers, a stigma stomping podcast with NAMI of Erie County, Pennsylvania. I am one of your hosts, Abby.
And I'm your other host, Janana.
Today, we're going to be talking about the correlation between homelessness and mental health, which it's like the Venn diagram is just a circle, honestly. And we're having Erika DePalma here to talk with us, so let's just get into it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem.
So if you want to start off introducing yourself, I know Abby did it a little bit, but what you do specifically at EUMA.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the Director of Development and Marketing. I get to kind of go out and advocate and share with the community all things about Erie United Methodist Alliance, or we usually refer to as EUMA because it's quite shorter. But I get to share all the good things that we do, and I'm very lucky to have that job. We are dedicated to ending homelessness in Northwest PA specifically, but we headquarter in Erie. We are dedicated to ending homelessness by making it rare, by making it brief, and by making it a one-time occurrence with the love and kindness as Jesus would.
Beautiful.
I love that. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Especially in Erie, I feel like we do see homelessness. And now, I mean, we're recording this in late November, so it's pretty cold already. And I know there's some shelters out there and things like that, but it still gets overfilled. So that's amazing that you guys are doing that work out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So do you deal directly, I know you do more of the marketing side of stuff. Do you ever, directly deal with the individuals that you guys are providing to?
Yeah, so actually a large part of my job is talking with our clients and making sure that they're comfortable when they're in our programs. A lot of them are open to sharing their stories because they understand that when they share their story, they become an advocate for others who are facing homelessness and others who have issues with mental health and are looking to get those resources. They, more often than not, are very excited for their opportunity to share a little bit about that and how they can get connected to EUMA.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, more about EUMA. What inspired the focus on making homelessness rare, brief, and one time?
Yeah. So, actually, EUMA has a very long history. We started 135 years ago, technically, through our predecessor organizations. So it started 135 years ago with the Erie United Methodist Episcopal Alliance, which was formed initially to provide pastoral fellowship and form new churches, and they were committed to caring for people who just arrived in Erie. It then, in 1888, changed to SEAM, which is Southeast Erie Ministries. And they established a house that was a preschool, and they facilitated outreach to people in like public housing units. So then it wasn't until around 1974 that EUMA was granted 501c3 nonprofit status and was renamed the EUMA that you know today, and that's by our founders, Carol and Howard Wright. So they did that work. They recognized that there was a need, that people were homeless, that someone needed a place to go. And it starts with our first program, which many in Erie know about already, which is the Refuge. So the Refuge was EUMA's first dedicated shelter program. It opened in 1984 as a shelter for women with children who were fleeing domestic violence. And then in 1989, based on the growing need, the refuge was converted to a 30-bed emergency homeless shelter for families with children. And that being said, we say families because it was one of the first shelters that actually welcomed fathers with their children. So more often than not, shelter programs remove the father from their children and send them to a separate shelter program.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that before.
Is that because of domestic violence?
Domestic violence, yes. I think it's a concern with safety.
Mm-hmm.
But we have been dedicated to making sure that we don't split up families.
Yeah, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Even accepting the father, we also accept grandparents.
Oh.
So, like, currently today, there is a three generational family at EUMA's refuge.
Wow.
So we have a grandparent, a parent, and their daughter staying at the refuge right now. So as the family presents, that's how we welcome them into the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've never knew that before, especially like removing the father. That's, yeah.
Yeah. Our goal is to accept people as they are, to meet them where they are, and to meet their needs.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to separate the family. We want to show them love and compassion and make sure that they have their safety people and the people that they rely on every day.
And especially I feel like you're already going through a tough time. If you go and separate the families, it's much harder for those individuals, tying back into mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would be tough. You're going through this challenge and then you're also away from your family. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Accepting people where they are also ties back to mental health. So I like that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
So what made you want to join EUMA originally?
So originally, I was working in Erie for another nonprofit. And at that time, I noticed the homelessness issue in Erie. I think there are a lot of us that can say that we've seen someone who's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And more often than not, I think we look away. And it's hard because I know that deep down in our hearts, we all want to do something about it. And we don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I got a phone call and they said, you know, there's this opening at EUMA. Our work is to end homelessness. Would you be interested? And I remember that I literally was sitting in the parking lot and I saw someone walk by who was homeless.
Aww.
And it was one of those moments where I was like, yes. I think for a very long time I've been thinking to myself, like, how do I start giving back to these people? And I was afraid to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so how lucky am I to be presented with the opportunity to
Right.
join an organization, to work alongside people, and then to also educate others on how you can help give opportunities to volunteer with others. So it's a little less scary, you know, so you can finally give back.
I love that. That's
Love that.
amazing. I feel like the work you do, if you're passionate about it, it's so important because then you're more determined to make that mission possible.
Absolutely.
So
I would say that's a very common trend with the staff at UMA.
And that's important because those clients of yours can definitely see if you're passionate about what you're doing or if you're just there for the paycheck. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to shift gears a little to mental health and homelessness. So, how prevalent are mental health issues among the homeless population in the Erie area?
Yeah. I would say that mental health issues are prevalent, but before I share the statistics and before I talk about mental health issues among the homeless population in our region, I also want to bring up I did this quiz online for a presentation one time from nationalhomeless.org, and there was a question on it that it said, people experiencing homelessness are mentally ill, and you had to answer yes or no. if you think about the options, it's like, wow. How do I pick yes or no?
That's like a very black and white
Right?
question. Very
Right.
black and white answers.
Like, this is an incredibly complex question that we're
Yeah.
asking. It's not really something that you just say yes or no. But it really put me in the mindset of, like, the stigma of homelessness. The assumption that they're mentally unwell or struggling. There are people who oversimplify why someone is homeless. They don't understand the complex factors that contribute to homelessness. Like, they don't think about economic inequality or lack of affordable housing or lack of family or friends or even just unexpected disasters in life. I know today, if I lost my job, my apartment burned, and I had nowhere to go, that my friends and family would pick me up. I would not be homeless tonight because I have that privilege and I have the people around me to support me. And some don't, and it's easy as that to find yourself in a position of homelessness. So I often like to remind people that not all people who are homeless are struggling with mental illness, but there are a good amount of people who are. That being said, a person's mental health and mental illness can be a factor, it can be a result, but it can't be necessarily a cause. The Erie County Point in Time Count, which is, I believe, operated by Erie County Care Management. If you have not heard of this before, they go out one night in winter, and they kind of try to talk to people in encampments on the streets and get a rough number of how many people are homeless on a given night in Erie. So in February of last year, they went out and counted. And this point in time count stated that 40% or 47% of those people that are homeless are battling mental health illnesses. So that's almost half. So I will say it is prevalent, but it's not always, a part of homelessness. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I love the statistics as well because I did not know that.
Yeah.
But I also think that a lot of times mental health can also just be you're stressed. I mean, that's a stressful situation to be in. You don't know where you're going to sleep tonight. You don't know where you're going to get your food from. That can also play a part in it. So it's like, it's understandable. And one thing I don't like is when people say, oh, what if and we've talked about this before, what if I give this person this money and they use it for cigars or they use it for alcohol? And one thing I heard, and I will never forget, someone said, when we're having a tough day at work, we go home and we'll drink a glass of wine, or we'll do something that necessarily, quote unquote, isn't healthy for you, but nobody's asking us, what you're doing. So just because this person is finding comfort doing that, we can't judge them.
Yeah.
And like to your point before, like Abby has said, if you're giving that money out of the goodness of your heart, you
don't get to question what they're going to use it for. Like, give them it and move on. Like, you don't, I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that sharing with individuals who are facing a housing crisis is a bad motion. Like, you're interacting with them. You're treating them as a human being. You're showing compassion and love. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Yeah.
We've learned that in a number of our programs that we have a lot of individuals that are experiencing homelessness, and they literally all they want is just to talk to someone. They're like some of the most vocal people in our programs.
Yeah.
Like they really don't care. At least these individuals don't really care like where they go after that. They just really enjoy speaking to other people in that space for that hour-long program.
Yeah.
So like if you hand them $1 and talk to them for 5 minutes, the talking to them probably means more than the $1 does.
Absolutely. Like I said before, like we have friends and family who are there to pick us up. For some of these clients, like we are their family. I had a client who I did a story with. They came in to tell me that they had been accepted to school at EIT for the first time.
Oh, that's so cool.
And he was like, I'm so excited, you know? He's like, you guys are the people that I wanted to tell first. You know, you're my family, you're my people.
I love that. Aw, that's amazing. And you seeing that impact, like that feedback on how much of an impact it makes,
Yeah.
truly, I'm sure, makes that much of a difference even for us when we get that positive feedback of, hey, this is how I'm doing now, you know, thanks to your organization. You just feel that happiness of, wow, I'm really helping a real individual out there, and it makes all those tough days worth it. That's amazing.
100%.
So, kind of going back to the mental health challenges that the individuals face, have you ever encountered an individual who is without a home and the common mental health challenges that are amongst them?
Absolutely. I would say that with a lot of our clients, a lot of them are struggling with trauma-related issues, whether that be fleeing domestic violence, or even what I think of the most is one of our programs called EUMA Liberty House is meant for male veterans. A lot of them are struggling with PTSD, some with addiction, and some are battling just those general things like anxiety and depression and so many other things. And we always try to come alongside them and understand them and support them. And that's why we actually use partner organizations that do that work, that are skilled in that work. So something special to EUMA Liberty House is that we have a partnership with the VA. The VA comes on site. Each of the men in the building has, a case manager, someone that works with them, someone that helps them go to therapy, helps them search for jobs, helps them with their everyday needs. Yeah.
I love that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Kind of tied into that, and it kind of ties into this next question, but it's more specific. Are you able to explain how, so a lot of veterans have PTSD, but also have like a home and a job and support from like friends and family, and then they still end up homeless?
Yeah.
Can you kind of explain how that happens? Like if everything else is going right, but how their PTSD can lead to homelessness?
Yeah. I think a good way to kind of bring attention to that is the person I was referring to before has actually shared their story openly before. And I know he would be very comfortable with me sharing it now because he has expressed that he likes to share his story because the more he shares his story, the more he's advocating. And also that is a part of his mental health battles, is that he often himself goes out and speaks about it because he feels that the more he talks about it, that the more he can work through it. So I do want to share just like a little letter from Joe.
I love that.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. Joe said, I wanted to express my heartfelt gratitude for the kindness and support you have shown me, as well the past, present, and future veterans who participate in the Liberty House program. Thank you to my brothers and sisters of Christ who see the value of investing in veterans' well-being and reentry back into civilian life. My journey began in my childhood, which was marked by the pervasive presence of drugs in my family. My parents not only introduced me to drugs, but also abused me mentally and physically at a young age. These experiences made my transition into adulthood difficult as I faced my own addiction battles and coped with my mental health. At 24, I entered the military, while drugs were an active and destructive force in my life. Substance abuse took its toll on my physical and mental health, strained my relationships, and hindered my personal growth. Quitting drugs while in the military was not without its difficulties. The process was extremely demanding both physically and mentally. In 2009-2010, I was deployed to Iraq as a combat engineer. The harsh realities of combat, the unpredictable nature of the environment, and the constant threat of danger were ever present. I remember driving through daisy-chain IEDs and not being able to see the tank in front of me. My experiences while deployed made my transition back home in 2010 a major adjustment. I was facing PTSD and reintroduced to a family environment with a lot of drug use. I lacked support from those I considered loved ones while battling PTSD and trying to maintain sobriety. Falling into former habits, sometimes for several days, this severe break in my sobriety led to a stay at St. Vincent, where I was transferred to Pittsburgh Veterans Affairs, CGAC, and then PRRTE. Once released, I hopped from motel to motel, where by the grace of God, I was clean for an extended period of time. During this period of time, I met a VA liaison who guided me to Liberty House. Liberty House provided me with a space of stable housing and a space where I can work on myself. Knowing that I have a safe place to stay reduces stress and gives me a chance to focus on my treatments. Urges are easier to cope with while knowing I have a roof over my head and food to eat. While at Liberty House, I started a new hobby of creating wooden crafts because crafting helps me be present in the moment and focus on the task at hand. This mindful engagement mitigates stress and anxiety, and I find that it gives me the chance to slow down my thoughts and process things.
I love that.
Yeah. I think that's super important to note that because he has a roof over his head, he is able to focus on his mental health. Where, like, if you have to sleep outside, you're not really worried about your mental health. You're worried about your physical safety.
Yeah.
That's
So I feel like that's just really important.
And that's a large part of the work that EUMA is doing, because we follow a housing first approach. It's the idea really that you need to be housed in order to start addressing those needs. Like it essentially is Maslow's hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
You need food, you need shelter, you need to feel safe. You need a space where you can start to work on yourselves. And so what we do is we provide that space, but then we also provide the resources that wrap around, and we help them with those resources. We help them apply them.
Love that.
Yeah. And if Joe is listening, thank you for sharing with the EUMA, and thank you, Erika, for sharing with us and our listeners, because I feel like having those stories and hearing how much of an impact it makes really makes a difference, even for the listeners out there who might be without a home and, don't know what to do, where to go, which leads me kind of into my next question. So what does the process look like for individuals who want to seek services with your organization? What does the process look like? What are the steps to take? Where can they reach out? If you want to go over that.
Excellent question. So a lot of the programs in Erie addressing homelessness, they're all by referral. So Erie County Care Management kind of serves as this organization that organizes where these clients go. And I think that now it's being communicated better, but if you are, we were going back to the conversation of you see someone on the street, what do I do? Well, this is what you can tell them to do. You can tell them, call 814-SHELTER, and that will send them to a line at Erie County Care Management that they then get to talk with the case manager, and then they assess them. So if I am a single mother looking for a place to go, and there is room at Mercy Center for Women, they're going to send them there. If there is a single father or a grandparent in their child, or even a single mother that is looking for a place to go, they're going to send them to the refuge. Are you a veteran? Liberty House. You know, so they assess them by their needs, and then all of the organizations in Erie report back to Erie County Care Management. We have a room open here. We have a room open here. And so they refer them to us. And that's how you get started. You call 814 Shelter. It gets you connected to so many different resources in Erie.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
That's very good to know
Yeah.
because I did not know that already.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I
thought
do
you
now.
maybe just called in directly, but yeah, it would make sense because if they have those resources to know what place
Like
has
best fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Rather than just putting people in random places.
right.
Yeah,
Where they may
I
not
think it's
benefit.
unique in Erie that all of the organizations serving homelessness, we really do work together. We're all
You need to.
We're all at
Yeah.
capacity right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That kind of makes me sad.
Yeah.
It's good that they found the service, but it's not so great that you have to be full.
Yeah,
But it is getting to winter since we are filming this in November.
that is true. Yeah, we film in advance in these podcasts with schedules and everything. It can be tough. So
Yeah.
awesome. So what are some of the services that I know you talked about, the Liberty House, Refuge? What are all the services that you have to offer?
Yeah. So EUMA has 6 programs in just Erie. We actually recently expanded to Crawford County as well. So we have 2 programs out there with some amazing partner organizations like CHAPS. But in Erie specifically, we have the Refuge, our first program, which is for families with children. We have Journey Home, which is a program for youth aging out of foster care. So when
That's
you turn
really
18,
important.
we are, that I know of at this current moment, one of the only organizations kind of serving that area of need, and it's growing.
Yeah.
It is growing significantly. Like
Which is very sad.
one of our
Yeah.
overnight shelters has definitely seen an uptick in the amount of individuals who are 18 to 24 going in and seeking shelter. But that program is kind of a step program. So it teaches them how to be independent and how to live on their own after they've left their foster care program at 18.
I love
I like that a lot.
Then we also have Liberty House, which I mentioned earlier, and that is for male veterans. It's a 10-bed house. And then we have Rainbow Connection Thrift Store, which is a thrift store located at 1516 Buffalo Road. So if you ever want to go visit, it serves as a voucher program for our clients. So if you are at the Refuge and you need clothing, you have come to the Refuge, you have nothing left, you don't have access to any of your clothes, you are fleeing domestic violence, your kiddos don't have any toys anymore, you need to collect items for when you move to permanent housing like dishware, tables, chairs, all of those things. Rainbow Connection has it.
Oh, that's amazing.
But it's also serving as a feeder to our organization. So it's by donation. People bring in their donations. We sort through them. And anyone can go shop there. So when you shop at Rainbow Connection Thrift Store, you are donating to our greatest need. You are helping fund our programs. We use that money to, keep the lights on at the shelter, to make sure everything's updated, that we're giving our clients a space with dignity. And then we also have our Neighbor's Place. So we talk about November. Our Neighbor's Place just launched in November, our 13th season. So that's our overnight shelter. Overnight overflow. So it serves as the last resort shelter in Erie. There are other organizations in Erie like Erie City Mission and Community of Caring that offer overnight programs. But even then, like I mentioned earlier, all of these organizations are reaching capacity. And that's why our Neighbor's Place exists. This is the last resort. When everywhere else is full, this is where they go for a place to lay down to sleep that's warm, that's safe, so that they can shower, so that they can get connected to resources. And we just launched our 13th season at the new Community Resilience Center.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that was an option. I knew of the shelters, but I didn't know there was that last resort as well. It's amazing.
How many people fit there?
So this year we were able to expand the amount of beds that we have because of this new centered building. It used to transition every 2 weeks from the downtown churches. Those churches are still involved and still giving back, and they treat these people with so much kindness. They truly know what they're doing. They welcome people just with so much love, and which is why they're happy that this year, now at a center location, that we can welcome 50 people in.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That's great. Wow.
I have seen a lot that Erie is doing good in the community when it comes to people without homes. Like the
tiny homes.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That's so amazing.
That's such a cool concept,
Yeah.
too. I love that.
I love that we're included. Like, I know a lot of times people might feel ashamed to ask for help. You know, that stigma surrounding it, even with mental health. That's why stigma stompers. But I feel like it's important that we're talking about it more. We're doing more to help the community without really having to, you know, have the individuals asking for it constantly. It's like we're making those steps to make it happen.
Yeah.
I love that. Awesome. So are there any barriers that prevent individuals experiencing homelessness to access mental health care?
Absolutely. I would say one of the biggest is probably the financial barriers. I would say, you know, lack of health insurance.
Yep.
Or the fact that many of them are struggling to acquire a job or have limited job opportunities, whether it be because of mental health struggles or just their struggles with homelessness. And then on top of that, you don't have a home, but you also don't have transportation. So how are you supposed to get connected to those resources? You know, how are you supposed to get to appointments on time or go to your job interview or meet a therapist? So I think those are some of the biggest struggles, but also, like you said earlier, the stigma, the shame sometimes that people feel that they can't accept help, that they struggle to take, you know, offers from someone. Some people feel a lot of pride and they don't want help yet. And so that is definitely a barrier as well. And I know that in our programs, we try our best to encourage our clients to go to job interviews, go to the therapist, seek resources. We even, for some of the programs, they have like free EMTA passes. So they have an option of transportation.
I love that. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot today.
I was just going to say a lot today.
I learned a lot
Thank
today.
you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
I want to throw out there because I have to. All of our programs are completely free at NAMI. Completely free, no insurance required.
Yeah, we
Just
have
throw it out there.
support groups as well, and everything in our organization is confidential too. We do not need health insurance or any compensation, anything really. All we need is a name and a way to contact you. That's pretty much all, right?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you guys can reach out to us as well, and I'm sure if someone's without a home and they reach out to us, we would probably end up ECCM.
Erie
Yeah,
County
because we
Care
don't
Management.
refer
Yeah.
directly to you. It would
Correct.
be to them. Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
But I
Perfect.
definitely have seen quite a few NAMI posters hanging around the shelters. So
Aw,
thank
I
you
love
for
that.
being an excellent
Oh,
resource.
thank you.
I'm
we
really
try our
glad.
best. Yeah.
Our peer support group is like expanded. They had 11 people, which was like a lot for
Yeah.
our peer support group. It's like our community one. So the more the merrier.
I'm glad that people are using it.
Yeah. And they're getting a lot from it.
Yeah.
So that's good. But yeah, we're also downtown. We're downtown, located downtown. So somewhat accessible to some.
Yeah.
It's not too far from, I feel like, I don't know. I think we're pretty accessible.
It's a good location. Plus, with our support groups, we offer a virtual component. So if there is someone who can't attend and make it, we do have that virtual side of it that you can attend. I think it's using Teams, if I'm not mistaken, or
Zoom. I don't know.
It
It's
might
one
be
of
Zoom.
it's one of the video chat.
So we try to
things.
make it as convenient for individuals as possible. So, yeah.
Let's see. Well, you already shared one with Joe, but can you share any other success stories of individuals who have overcome homelessness and mental health challenges through your programs?
I think one that I could share, and she herself actually, she is also advocating in that space. Last night, she spoke at Gannon University with one of our student interns, actually, and represented EUMA.
That's so cool.
Her name is Consuelo, and she was a mother of 8 at the time of her stay at EUMA's The Refuge.
Wow.
Yes.
8.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she really noted that when she was staying, she was scared, she was stressed, and that she felt welcome at the refuge and felt calmed there by our staff. I know that for her, I would say in a mental health aspect, it was mostly just the uncertainty and the stress that comes along with being homeless. And she says all the time that she's so grateful that the people there were so kind to her. And even like the EUMA volunteers that came in and helped her along the process, or how during times of holiday season, like we're approaching the holidays here, those people who are homeless don't get to celebrate the holidays in the same way that we do. And we really try to make the holidays special for the kids and for the adults in the program. And she said that she remembers that we had everything decorated for Christmas. Santa Claus came to visit, the kids had presents, and that she felt like the holidays was a special moment at the refuge. And when she was searching for an apartment, she took her kids with her. It's really hard to find someone who wants to rent to 8 kiddos at an affordable price.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is rare. Affordable is rare anymore.
And she shared in her story that she had gone to so many different places and been denied multiple times. And then also with that's one of those barriers that someone knows that you are homeless, and they will, it's not correct, but they will deny you to rent an apartment. That's a barrier that I think a lot of them face, or they've been evicted before, and so then they see that on their record and they don't want to rent to them. And she said that she met this one landlord, this amazing person who met the kids. She brought the kids with her, and they were like playing chess while she was looking at the apartment. And she said to her, like, your kids are so well behaved. They're amazing little kids. You're a great mother, and like I would love to rent to you.
Oh, I love that.
And when she moved out, the volunteers helped her like pack things into a truck and move all of her stuff to this new apartment. And she just shares that it's really hard as a mom facing homelessness. Yeah. They would sleep in the same bed, her and her kids. And she said that they would sleep together because the sense of comfort would help with like the stress, with the uncertainty and anxiety that comes along with being homeless and being a mom.
Right. And during those times, I'm sure for the kids as well, it has to be stressful. You know what I mean? just not knowing what's next and seeing your parent struggling and trying to figure life out. I mean, it has to be tough for them as well. It's, So I love that you create these fond memories and a nice place, for them to, because sometimes it's just like, oh, here, you can stay here, and it's not that great. So putting that effort in is amazing.
Absolutely. And now she comes back to the refuge occasionally, and she holds an optional Bible study that she invites people to join if they just want some time with people. And now she is going out and advocating on behalf of EUMA and just sharing like what the program does and, the ways that you can get connected or help other people or just show love and compassion to people who are facing homelessness.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like people can connect more to an individual who has gone through that than if we, as individuals who work for the organization, go out and just tell them the information. So that's amazing.
Yeah. I feel like thinking about being in school, if someone came in and they were telling their actual story and not just like the facts of like whatever it is they're talking about, but they're talking about how like they were homeless and they did sleep on the streets and they did make it out, I'm so much more inclined to listen and like care.
Yes,
that is true.
So I really like that they're being such advocates for it now.
I think it's important that we invite people who have these experiences to sit at the table.
Yeah, they're experiencing it firsthand.
Yes. They know better than anyone.
Assuming what they need is, there's no good can come from assuming. Ask them what it is they need. And that goes for a lot of things. Homelessness, mental health. If you ask them, they'll tell you, and then it'll just work better.
Exactly.
And everything will just be better.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You talked about some of the organizations that you work with or get referrals from, but how does EUMA collaborate with like mental health professionals, community services, or other nonprofits to help address the need of homeless individuals?
This is something that EUMA does very well. We partner with multiple organizations in the community. And we do this because we know when there is a time to start a new program or to leverage already existing strong programs that are doing the work. So that being said, Journey Home, our program for youth aging out of foster care, we have a partnership with Bethesda Lutheran Services and Family Services of Northwest PA, two incredibly strong programs in our county that help youth aging out of foster care. They come on site, they do case management with the kids, and we are the understanding kind of hosts of the kids that are in the program. We have RAs in the buildings who almost serve as like parent figures in a way that are there for them when they need help with something. Like even the questions of like, I've never done my laundry on my own. How do I use the washing machine?
Right.
Or how do I know when my chicken is cooked? Right?
Or
there's a spider in my room. Can you come kill it, please? But Bethesda Lutheran Services and Family Services of Northwest PA do an amazing job about coming in, and they meet with each of them individually, and they help them sort out, like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? Where do you want to be in this amount of time? How are you feeling? What are your mental health struggles at the moment? What resources can I connect you to? And that's the same with Liberty House and the VA. So those are kind of like three organizations that we partner with. And also I want to include the Rainbow Connection Thrift Store. That program not only serves as a voucher to our clients, but also to 45 other nonprofits in Erie.
Oh, wow.
So some places, like I can think of, like the Barber Center. They also send people over there. EUMA offers vouchers to these programs as well. And they can come pick out what they need if they're facing a housing crisis.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's really great.
Yeah. A lot of stuff I did not know about before this episode.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it, because that way we're better educated and we can better help, individuals who are calling us. Like if I had someone call that is without a home and is looking for help, I might have called EUMA because, I didn't know the process. And
yeah,
so
which is never a bad thing to do, because
Right.
everyone is always welcome to call us. We will help you get to the process,
It's amazing. Yeah.
Something I really like about Erie is I feel like it's big and small. Like it's not like Erie County is like relatively large and spread out because there's some rural, but I feel like it's small in the fact that everyone can work together. So like there's like a bunch of organizations working towards one goal, and then those same organizations are working with other organizations to work on something different. I just really like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
That's
to
true. Which kind of leads me into my next question.
Yeah.
How can local governments, organizations, communities better support individuals who are facing both homelessness and mental health challenges?
Yeah. I really feel like it's podcasts and things, and like it's honestly sharing the word of how do you get connected to the resources, what programs are available to you, because there's a lot of confusion in the services, I think, and also just people not being able to get connected to the resources. Erie has so much to offer, as you were saying
People
before.
don't know about.
Exactly, yeah.
There's so much that people don't know about.
Yeah.
There is a lot of giving nonprofits in Erie County. And just sharing how you can get connected to those resources and talking about it more and putting it out there makes a massive difference. And then also, like I said earlier, including those people who are actually experiencing homelessness as an advocate, to let them tell us, what do we need? What do we need to do for those people who need resources? And to put them in positions where they can advocate, where they can help with policy making or program updates, to tell people, this is what has helped me.
Right.
And this is what we need to continue to support.
Awesome.
What can our listeners do to support your efforts and contribute to solutions for homelessness and mental health in our community?
Yeah. So we're always collecting donations, whether that be like cleaning supplies, hygiene products, sweatpants, sweatshirts, clothing for job interviews, old furniture, anything in good condition or that's new. You can donate to EUMA, and those things will go to our shelter programs. They'll go to Rainbow Connection Thrift Store, and they'll end up in the hands of someone who needs it. Also, like financial donations make the biggest impact, because allowing EUMA to apply funds where they're needed most helps us keep the shelters running and give our clients a safe space to be at. And supporting financially and through gift and kind donations also helps programs like Rapid Rehousing. I didn't get to mention a lot about Rapid Rehousing. Is a program that helps move people from like literal homelessness into a home in a very short period of time. So we have partnerships with landlords throughout Erie. And this is Erie County and Erie City. So we've recently expanded out into like Corey area as well with our Rapid Rehousing program. It's HUD funded, and it supports people who have become recently homeless, like say your house burned or you were wrongfully evicted and you need somewhere to go. There's a lot of assistance with that program and a lot of ways that they can help you move into an apartment when it's needed. And that's kind of more preventative. Acting first. So donations are essential to these programs, because when you're moving and you have nothing, then these individuals get vouchers to like Rainbow Connection thrift store, and they can go pick out the things that they need. Like, do we need silverware? Do we need dishes? Do we need cups? Do we need clothing? Do we need tables? So that is extremely helpful, especially in those moments.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
So donate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Donate everything to EUMA.
Save some for yourself.
But donate everything that you aren't currently utilizing.
Yeah.
Yes, please. But anything else you want to know about EUMA, our website has everything you need to know, whether it be needed donations, how you can give back, how you can volunteer, where to drop off those donations. It's all located at EUMA-Erie.org.
Perfect.
Thank you. That was going to be one of my questions too. Where could people bring those donations? One thing we like to end our podcasts with is a piece of advice. So for our listeners who may be homeless or just struggling in general, maybe they're not homeless, but they're struggling with mental health challenges, what is a piece of advice that you have for them?
I'd say to not give up. You're loved more than you know. Get connected to those resources. Take advantage of the things that are being offered, especially in Erie County. There are so many amazing people and like-minded organizations similar to EUMA that care about you more than you know. Call 814-SHELTER and start getting connected to the resources.
Yeah.
We want to help you.
That's what all of our nonprofits and organizations here in Erie are for, is to help everyone. And if you may not be homeless, but you're struggling with other mental health challenges, or don't know where to go, who to turn to, you can also call NAMI or check out our website, and then we can guide you in the right direction on who to reach out to that way as well. So, yeah. Awesome.
I think that's a wrap.
Yep.
Thanks for listening, kiddos. We'll see you next time. And thank you again to Erika for joining us today.
Thanks, Erika. Learned a lot of information. So
yeah. A lot of good information.
Yeah.
Put that in my back pocket for a rainy day in case we need it. Thank you.
Awesome.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Stigma Stompers Podcast. We truly appreciate all your support.
If you want to see more about what we do in our community, make sure you check out our website. It's NAMIErie.org. Make sure you also click on our t-shirt store tab so you can buy a t-shirt. We get a portion of all the proceeds. And make sure you sign up for our newsletter. It has all of our programming and event updates.
Another way you can get involved is if you feel comfortable sharing your personal story. You can email us at info@namierie.org, or you can give us a call at 814-456-1773.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.